You know, we were in Nashville this weekend.
Yes.
For our live Kliq This.
Yes.
There also happened to be a big card of wrestling, Starrcast 5. And Ric Flair had his last match. Of course, before we get to that, though, because I guess we have to cover it. Everyone covers it, so we have to cover it. It's everybody's topic. So we'll talk about it. But I wanted to make an observation from spending more time with you. I see fans approach you, and I've learned that there's 3 classes of fan. Okay? The first is too much. The second is too little. And then the third is just enough. And I saw all 3 one night at your hotel bar. Okay? We're sitting down, hanging out. A guy comes over, bombed 3 times with his giant mug of beer. Bischoff gets up for 2 seconds to take a piss or to go pay a tab or something. The guy sits down, pulls up a chair. Well, I have notes out. We're having a meeting. And he just, I don't know what he was talking to you about, but he just started. That would be the too much, right? Too much.
I said, dude, I said, man, we're in the middle of working on something. I said, you weren't invited. Oh, my bad. He wasn't a dick about it. He was just bombed.
It was just too much.
Yeah.
Too much. Come over. You say your piece. You more. Now, then there's the too little. Here's the too little. A guy came over and called you Rick Nash. Okay?
Right.
That's knowing a little too little about the celebrity you're about to. Maybe get the fucking name. He doesn't have to know your title reigns. He doesn't have to know all the gimmicks you did. But
at least call me
don't
Steve.
Call you a hockey player. Steve Nash, maybe.
Steve Nash, at least. I mean, but Rick was a great player. I remember one time when I was on a plane. I was sitting bulkhead aisle, and there was a guy sitting bulkhead window with me, bigger guy, and I couldn't. He looked, familiar, and as the people are getting on the plane, like they're reaching across and shaking his hand, and they're all fucking suits. And they're saying, Rick. And I see Rick. And I said, and I heard one of the guys say, he said, hey, how you doing, Nash? And I knew he wasn't talking to me. I said, he got called Rick enough. I'm like, holy fuck. Like, I said, so I finally, they shut the plane up and everything else. And I look over at him. I said, did you ever think in your life that Kevin Nash and Rick Nash would be sitting next to each other and Steve Nash would be nowhere in sight?
Right.
Because that's what I always get. Are you Steve Nash? I'm like, no, he's a 6'4" Canadian point guard.
Unbelievable.
So,
but that's you know what I'm talking about, right? That's the too
I don't
little.
care. I don't care. That's great. I would just assume. I mean, that's fine. They know they. Whatever. I don't lose any sleep over that guy.
But here's the just enough. A guy, a rather larger fellow, came over, put a beer down for you. So I wanted to buy you a drink. Just want to thank you. You got me through a lot of tough times as a kid. Shook your hand, handed you a beer, walked away. That's perfect, right? That's just enough.
And then he was in my line the next day, and he got an autograph from me. And I got a chance, because I'd already, met him the night before. Then I made sure that I spent extra time with him, and they were trying to push my line. But just like that guy he's a fan, and I hate to use the word fan because I admire people's work.
Well, he wasn't a rat.
I mean, but it doesn't. I mean, fan is like just somebody that admires or respects what you've done in life. I think like this. The flight attendant when I was flying home the other day said our pilot is fanboying out that you're on his flight, and I was just like, all right, just make sure he lands this bitch.
I was going to say, keep your fucking eyes on the controls, motherfucker.
I mean, what does that mean? Is he got his hands on his joystick? Is he fucking like, what's going on up there? So, but I don't know.
Steve was saying, would you prefer maybe admirer, follower? What's the proper term?
I always like the NWO people that show up in my line that have like the logo on and shit like that. Like that's like the familia. Like that's my family. Like those people, those are they're not fans. They're like part of the NWO movement. So
Part of the clan.
Yeah.
Members. Yeah, brothers.
stand back and stand by.
I can stand by.